Welcome back to ZNGP today. Marc Márquez's journey from injury-ridden years at Honda to becoming Ducati's new hero was anything but straightforward. Behind closed doors, it took more than just fast laps. It required trust, reinvention, and an unexpected humility in the negotiation room. Now, the full story of what led to his signing with the Ducati Lenovo Team has surfaced, and it reveals how the 8-time world champion put ambition ahead of ego. After dominating WorldSBK with 2 titles under his belt, Toprak Razgatlıoğlu is preparing to swap litre-class Superbikes for prototype MotoGP machinery in 2026. Joining Yamaha's Prima Pramac racing squad, the Turkish star faces one of the toughest learning curves in motorsport history, adapting to a completely different bike, tire and electronics package while carrying the weight of high expectations. 2-time world champion Francesco Bagnaia has endured a turbulent start to 2025 aboard the new Ducati GP25, battling front-end instability that has undermined the confidence he enjoyed during his dominant 2024 campaign. At the Dutch TT in Assen, Bagnaia convened a frank meeting with his Ducati engineers. An apology, he says, that signaled a willingness to overhaul his weekend routine and attack his bike's shortcomings from a fresh angle. Amid the high-profile chatter over Jorge Martin's future, veteran manager Carlo Pernat insists the real drama of the 2026 silly season will be shaped by KTM's plans. With KTM's grid strategy in flux and Tech 3 potentially on the move, Pernat argues that once KTM's lineup is set, the dominoes will fall across the entire paddock. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. When Marquez left Honda for Gresini, everyone knew it was a calculated stepping stone, a proving ground for the biggest comeback in MotoGP. After the disaster of 2020 and 4 grueling arm surgeries, what he wanted was simple: a bike that let him be himself again. Gresini gave him that. He delivered results, reawakened his hunger, and showed Ducati he could still lead at the front. All the while, conversations with Ducati boss Dall'Igna quietly simmered in the background. For Marc, the deal wasn't about reclaiming endorsements or chasing records. It was about feeling alive again on the bike. When Dall'Igna raised the inevitable topic of salary, Marquez's answer said it all. Insider reveal. He allowed Ducati to pay him whatever they considered, even smiling as he said it. For a man who once commanded MotoGP's highest salary at Honda, this was more than a pay cut. It was a declaration: I'm here to win, not to cash out. Marc's departure from Honda wasn't just professional, it was personal. 10 years, 6 titles, and a deep emotional bond made the goodbye painful. But he knew that staying would mean stagnation. He left the most successful team in the sport's history to join a satellite Ducati, a risk that few champions in his position would dare take. Why? Because unlike Honda's old promises, Ducati's WorldSBK gave him something tangible: hope. The contract also meant leaving behind loyal personal sponsors like Red Bull and Samsung, now in direct conflict with Ducati's partners, Monster Energy and Lenovo. These weren't easy cuts. They represented over a decade of shared branding. But Marc didn't flinch. Speed mattered more than stickers. Ducati mattered more than deals. Now, with wins piling up and a 110-point championship lead, the union between Marquez and Ducati is flourishing. But what's next? According to the report, family. With Alex Marquez as his closest title rival, Marc could soon ask Ducati to offer his brother an official contract. Given Marc's rising leverage and Alex's top-tier form, it wouldn't be surprising if Ducati, like Repsol Honda once did, turned this into a full family affair. The Marquez-Ducati deal wasn't sealed with numbers, it was sealed with purpose. A man who once ruled MotoGP by domination now rules by determination. And through the quiet conversations with Dall'Igna, a bold new era was born. Not just a comeback, a legacy rebuilt. Before MotoGP existed in its current form, a handful of Superbike champions took the leap, often with mixed results. The first household name was Scott Russell, who, after clinching the 1993 Superbike crown, tackled the 500 cubic centimeters class in 1995-96. The first well-known rider to make the jump from SBK to World Motorcycle Championship was Scott Russell. Russell's statement: despite tenacity and 2 podiums at Suzuka and Brno, he never broke the top 5 in a race weekend. Fred Merkel, another dual Superbike champion, also tried his hand in 500 cubic centimeters but managed only an 11th place finish at the 1988 British GP when alternating between series. In the modern MotoGP era, champions like Colin Edwards and James Toseland tested their mettle against factory prototypes. Edwards, victorious in WorldSBK in 2000 and 2002, spent 2003-14 in MotoGP, racking up no wins but 12 podiums and a best championship rank of 4th in 2005. Toseland, Superbike king in 2004 and 2007, scored a solitary 6th place finish in 2008-09 with Tech 3 Yamaha. Troy Bayliss, the 3-time Superbike champion, rode for Ducati and Honda from 2003-05 and later as a 2006 Valencia wildcard, achieving 4 podiums and a rookie year 6th overall. Troy Corser's 1997 500 cubic centimeters venture was cut short by contract disputes, forcing him back to SBK mid-season despite 2 world titles. More recently, Ben Spies transitioned after his flawless 2009 Superbike campaign, 14 wins, earning 2 MotoGP podiums and a 5th place finish in 2010, then claiming his sole GP victory at Assen in 2011 before injuries stalled his progress. Now it's Toprak's turn. A rider whose aggression and finesse made him a Superbike legend must now master carbon brakes, prototype electronics and Michelin slicks. He's signed for Pramac in 2026, but his long-term future, potentially at factory Yamaha in 2027, hinges on how quickly he becomes competitive. 2026 is Toprak Razgatlıoğlu's turn. The move to MotoGP is a hugely important one. Razgatlıoğlu's statement: his objectives will span rapid adaptation, customizing the M1 to his riding style, and finding comfort on circuits he's never raced. Every test day and practice session will be an education in rethinking body position, throttle control and race strategy from the ground up. Toprak Razgatlıoğlu's switch to MotoGP is more than a team change, it's a reinvention. Few Superbike stars have managed to make the leap seamlessly. Most have returned to SBK to rediscover their mojo. But armed with talent, Yamaha machinery and the hunger of a 2-time world champion, Toprak's personal challenge could herald a new era for riders crossing disciplines, if he can turn promise into results on the grandest stage of motorcycle racing. Bagnaia opened up on his mindset shift in a rare admission of contrition to his crew. Tired of repeating the same unsuccessful fixes, he told DAZN that the meeting was about resetting how he collaborates with his engineers. I had a small meeting with my team, with the engineers, and I have only apologized because I want to change. Bagnaia's statement. This apology wasn't mere formality. It was a declaration that the old cycle of trial and error setup tweaks must give way to a more disciplined, loop-driven approach. The GP25's inconsistent front feel has left Bagnaia searching for clarity. Now, he's pledging fresh resolve. Identifying his own impatience as a barrier, Bagnaia revealed he plans to extend his running in practice, sacrificing outright pace for deeper insights into tire behavior and chassis feedback. After each session, I want to do more laps, even if it is going slower sometimes. The strategy flips the typical fast out the gate sprint approach on its head. By embracing longer runs, Bagnaia hopes to tease out subtle changes, knowing that lap time sacrifice now could translate into decisive gains when it really counts. Acknowledging that his acute feedback sometimes narrowed his focus, Bagnaia admitted that 1 or 2 lap bursts haven't yielded sustainable solutions for the GP25's handling quirks. I always notice it from the first corner. But that doesn't do much good if you only do 1 or 2 laps. Sensitivity is a double-edged sword. It helps riders dial in precision setups. But without context from extended running, fleeting sensations can mislead. Bagnaia's pivot to longer programs marks a maturation in his development philosophy. Bagnaia's sprint performances have been especially grim. Despite strong Sunday comebacks, he finds himself swallowed by the pack off the line, unable to fight back. I start, everyone overtakes me and I have to watch them the whole race. The opening dash has become a recurring nightmare, with Bagnaia's front-end instability compromising his launch and early braking. Recognizing this pattern is the first step. Solving it will require fresh setup paradigms and possibly revised ergonomics. Though confident he can replicate his Sunday race pace in sprint settings, Bagnaia admits he lacks a concrete plan to bridge that remaining gap on Saturdays. If the situation on Saturday occurs on a Sunday, I will move forward, but I don't know how to improve the sprint. This candid confession underscores the complexity of translating race day setups into short-format success. Bagnaia's challenge now is to adapt his approach under the unique constraints of the sprint format, a test of both rider adaptability and team agility. At Assen, Bagnaia's apology and fresh commitments marked more than a moment of vulnerability. They heralded a strategic reset. By embracing longer runs, tempering his acute feedback, and acknowledging his sprint shortcomings, he's charting a new course for the rest of 2025. Whether this evolution can restore the confidence that delivered 11 wins in 2024 remains Ducati's and Bagnaia's greatest collective challenge. Pernat downplays Martin's Aprilia saga, pointing instead to the Austrian factory's pivotal decisions on bike numbers and team partnerships as the market mover. Only when the future of KTM is understood will it be possible to really talk about the market, because the whole grid could really revolutionize. Pernat's statement. Whether KTM fields 4 factory machines or pairs back to 2, handing Tech 3 over to Honda, will determine which seats open up, who shifts teams, and how the satellite ecosystem reconfigures. At the center of Pernat's forecast is Tech 3, long KTM's junior squad. With KTM's non-racing finances under pressure, the moneyed future of Poncherol's outfit, and its riders, hangs in the balance. If KTM stays with 2 bikes and Tech 3 ends up with Honda, then it will be a great dance of saddles and seats. Such a switch would free Tech 3's current KTM-tied talents, Maverick Vinales and Enea Bastianini, to explore new options, triggering a cascade of contract renegotiations across factory and satellite rosters. Despite Poncherol's desire for fresh backing, his riders remain contractually tethered to KTM through 2026, complicating any team manufacturer pivot. Hervé Poncherol has important investors interested in his team, but his 2 riders still have a direct contract with KTM. Without manufacturer buy-in or contract releases, Poncherol's prospective new backers may find themselves scrambling for talent if KTM maintains its existing commitments. Masked in all the speculation is Pedro Acosta, whose performance clauses and KTM ties make him arguably the hottest commodity on the market. While Acosta's deal runs through 2026, his impatience for a title pushes other factories to circle. A strategic reshuffle at KTM could be the only catalyst for Acosta's next move. Pernat's bottom line, KTM's internal decisions will reverberate throughout MotoGP's ecosystem. Factory plans, satellite alliances, and rider loyalties all hinge on one question: what does KTM do in 2026? You understand that in this scenario KTM will make the market, because everything will depend on what happens there. Once KTM confirms its 2026 blueprint, bike count, team alignments, rider pairings, the scramble for seats will kick into overdrive, forcing teams and riders alike to adapt in real time. Forget the Martin headlines. This silly season's seismic shifts will be orchestrated by KTM. As Carlo Pernat warns, until KTM's future is set in stone, no rider is safe, no podium is secure, and the transfer window remains wide open. When the Austrians finally declare their hand, Only then can the real MotoGP market take shape. Thanks for watching ZNGP today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!